Howdy, guys, and welcome to night number 18 of Big Brother 24's overnight feed recaps, and welcome to Cliff Notes. The winds can change. What an exciting night last night. Oh, so many conversations. This is a Big Brother that I love watching. A lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. First of all, as a real quick refresh, Turner's the HOH. Michael and Brittany were put up as the duo on the block. But they were always the intended pawns. The original plan was to then use the veto won by whoever wanted, pull Brittany and Michael off the block, put Taylor and Nicole on the block, send Taylor out the door, and that was the original plan. Well, things have changed just a little bit. We've got some new plans afoot that we're going to talk about. Haven't all that long. All right, now first of all, we did have the veto competition yesterday. It was played in pairs. It sounds like it was one player in a pulley system being lifted up and down by the other partner in the duo, trying to stack blocks or solve a puzzle, something like that. We don't really know. But here's what's interesting. We only had three groups competing. We had Jasmine and Turner as the HOH and HOH's duo. We had Brittany and Michael as the nominees, and then a random draw pick the third duo that was going to be competing. And it just happened to be Taylor and Nicole, which is what Taylor needed to stay alive in this game. At least so she thought at the time. So those were the six people competing. And again, something about being pulled by pulleys, things like that. Apparently Jasmine passed out or came close to passing out at some point in the competition. So she and Turner had to basically, if not stop, at least they weren't in serious contention for the win. So it really came down to Michael and Brittany versus Nicole and Taylor. And the winner was Brittany and Michael. Yes, they've won. I've heard some people saying it was really Brittany, even more so than Michael, that he was just running and getting pieces. Brittany was solving whatever kind of puzzles it was. Not sure exactly what it was, but it doesn't matter. They won. Now, Amira had said earlier, if she was playing, she'd be happy to maybe let Brittany and Michael win the veto. She told him, said, I'll pass it to you. I'll let y'all win it. She may not be thinking quite as much right now today. And we'll talk about that. So anyway, the key is that Brittany and Michael have won the veto. They definitely will use it to pull himself off. So the big question now is, who does Turner put up as the renomination duo? And that's what all last night's conversations were about. So much fun. Let the conspiring begin. Now, first of all, earlier today, apparently Daniel blew up on Nicole, kind of called her out, said that Paloma leaving was at least in part Taylor's fault. Yeah, that's a little rough, but saying it was at least that was somewhat Taylor's fault, really wasn't Taylor's fault at all. And Nicole is upset because I guess she came out of the diary room. She was crying. Taylor saw her. Taylor knows that Nicole's mom is suffering from cancer, thought maybe something had happened to her mom, came up to console her. And apparently later Nicole said, I think maybe to Daniel, was complaining, saying, oh, Taylor told me I should quit. I should quit the game. Well, what Taylor actually had said was, look, if you have to leave because of your mom, people are going to understand. Take care of your mom, take care of business and all that. So it got spun a little bit, but the end result, Daniel and Nicole both just kind of feeding the fire a little bit, just targeting Taylor a little bit more in preparation for the next week and their idea of getting Taylor out on Thursday itself. Now, from that side, we go to a slightly different side. We've got Joseph talking to Taylor. I had a very nice talk with her, just trying to cheer her up, giving her a pep talk about life in general, life in the house. And he's telling her, saying, look, Taylor, no matter what you think, you're not dead in the water, that there is still hope that you're going to stay in this game. You need to stay close to Brittany and Michael, trust them. And she says, yeah, I already do. And he said, well, good. Stay close to them, but just don't assume that everything's done just yet. And he's talking to her. He said, I get attacked every time I even talk to you. It's just silly the way some people act in this house. And so they're kind of just commiserating a little bit about some of the things that have been happening in the house. We've got later Joseph talking to Michael. They're both talking about the fact that they really feel like they're both on the outside. They've agreed to maybe work together. I don't know at this time that they actually called an alliance, but they certainly said, let's come to some kind of agreement with each other. We're both on the outside. we can work together. I like to see us. They feel that the people in this house who are being nice, who are being respectful, have been getting the short end of things so far in this game, and they want to change it up. All right, we've got Michael and Taylor again having a conversation. So you're starting to see these people talk a little bit. And Michael and Taylor talking. Another nice conversation. Michael is saying, look, I don't want to give you a lot of details just yet, Taylor, but there may be a new plan developing that involves you. So just keep the hope up. Don't make any assumptions, Taylor. Just we'll be back in touch, but sit tight. So he's telling her maybe things are going your way. Monty and Taylor are then talking. Was it Monty and Taylor? Yeah, I guess so. At one point, and remember, Monty and Taylor didn't necessarily always. They didn't always see eye to eye. Yeah, Taylor kind of felt like Monty was responsible for a lot of the issues at the very beginning with the way he kind of misstated some things that had been said from Paloma. And so, Taylor's talked about Monty being her first target. So the two of them are talking at this point. Monty tells her at one point, I'm not sure if he meant to or not, but he tells her, says, look, you're not going up. So, I think Taylor's starting to see a lot of people that are maybe changing their position a little bit. All right, we've got in the HOH room, Kyle and Michael and Turner are all talking. Kyle's saying, look, this is our chance to do something this week while we still have the power. If we wait, this other side, these girls, this other alliance, they're going to pick us off one by one. We don't have a chance. But this week, we could potentially have the power and make something happen. Kyle's telling Turner, said, look, even if you renom and go after the other side, even if they then win next week and put you on the block with duos, you're going to be on the block next to Jasmine, and we'll have the votes, and we'll vote Jasmine out. You're going to be safe even if they do that next week. So he's trying to make sure Turner's okay with it. The only side that would be in danger from this, and for now I'm going to call it the guys plus some extras. We'll talk official names later, but it says, look, from this side, really the only people who are in danger are Monty and Joseph because they're a duo together. The other side, Jasmine, Alyssa, whoever, they could put Monty and Joseph together on the block, and one of them would be forced to go out. But they're the only ones. Everyone else, we've got someone from that side and someone from our side. We can control it with our votes. Make sure someone from that side goes home. So they're figuring out some strategies here. All right, they're all agreeing that if they leave Amira alone, she could win this whole thing. She's too smart. She's too strategic. She's too strong a player. So they really need to take out Amira as quickly as possible, or else she may win the whole thing. Kyle is telling the other guys that Alyssa had told him that Paloma had started a girls' alliance towards the very beginning, like on day number 1. And as a result, that Taylor wasn't lying to them when she was trying to tell some of these guys that, hey, the girls are kind of, putting stuff together. So he's saying she was telling us the truth. All right, we've got Brittany and Joseph. Excuse me. Brittany and Joseph have now come up to the HOH room as well. So we're starting to see more people piling in on this thing. We've got Kyle also. We're telling everyone that Alyssa had revealed this old school alliance to him. And the old school, just as a refresher, because it was only a day or two ago, but the old school alliance is Amira, Jasmine, Alyssa, Nicole. So 4 women, Daniel, and Terrence. That's the old school alliance. At one point, Brittany said, I'm old. How come I wasn't it? But Kyle has spilled the beans that there's this old school alliance that all of these people in the HOH room aren't a part of. And so he's mentioning that. Kyle is saying, look, Amira's tight. I'm kind of maybe part of an alliance with her that won the POPAC, right? He says, but she made it real clear. She said outright that she would never vote out Alyssa or Jasmine. So he's saying at the best, I'm number 4 in that group. Why would I want to stay working with those ladies right there? Kyle's also saying that Kyle put a lot of this together. Kyle really has done a good job of developing this whole plan, I think. Kyle is saying that the girls wanted Taylor to win HOH last week, but only so that she would then go after a big target, such as Monty, get out some big targets, and they turn around and cut Taylor anyway. So he's explaining that they wanted to go after the guys. They're just trying to use Taylor to do it. All right, we've got Joseph a little upset that Amira keeps following him around, watching what he's doing, questioning him whenever he talks to anyone. And it leads to another conversation about how she's paying attention to everything. She's aware of everything that's happening in the house. All right, we've got Turner at this point, seeing what everyone's saying and agreeing with it and saying, I'm not going to let the other side pull my strings this week. I'm not going to do it. And he says, especially, Pooch, I'm not going to do it. So it seems like Turner's getting on board also. Kyle's saying again that this is their chance, that they can make something happen. And he's starting to vocalize exactly how it should work. He's saying, look, put up Amira and Terrence on the block. If both of them are up, they're both on the other side. They're both part of this old school alliance. But if they're on the block, neither one of them can vote. As a result, our side now controls the vote. We'll send Amira out the door. He calls her the head of the snake. We'll vote out the head of the snake. Amira, be done with it. Now, several of them have started talking at this point about the fact that Taylor's been treated badly. They think because of that, they should be able to pull Taylor onto their side and make something happen. And so the idea is that these guys, along with Taylor, along with Brittany and Michael, can represent this new group, this new alliance. All right, little break from the strategy talk. We see some hide and seek games being played in the house. I did that while I was during my season. It's hard to hide the Big Brother house, especially for someone like me. Kind of hard to hide in it, but you do whatever you can, have a little fun. So we had that. But quickly, we get back to the game talk. We've got Joseph and Kyle and Michael in the storage room. They want to find a chance to talk to Taylor, explain all this to her, get her on board. And there's some discussion about, we need to make her a part of this. We just don't want to tell her what we're doing. We want to make sure she's a full partner and all that. So they want to explain to Taylor what's going on, and Monty as well. Just make sure that everyone's absolutely signed on to this thing. All right, a little bit later, we've got Amira and Nicole and Daniel. So the other side of the other alliance. Amira is wondering who's going to self-destruct next. Well, Amira, you may want to start preparing yourself mentally because she's wondering about that. Amira is getting nervous, though. She's saying that she's heard that she and Terrence might be the ones that go in the block instead of Taylor and Nicole, that it could be her and Terrence so that they could get out Terrence. Well, she's got it half right. She doesn't quite have it figured out, but she has been paying attention. All right, we've got Alyssa and Jasmine talking. Jasmine is saying that she wants Taylor or Terrence out. Those are her targets this week. If Taylor and Nicole go up, Taylor goes home. If it's Mira and Terrence, and obviously Terrence goes home. Alyssa is saying, I really don't want to, I don't want Terrence to go, though. I would prefer to keep him. She would vote to send him out before she's voted out Nicole, but she much rather would go ahead and send Taylor out this week and not mess with the other. Jasmine is talking about what a rough 3 weeks she has had and that the stress will only get worse. Jasmine, I feel like other people in the house may have been a little more stressed out over the past few weeks, but just a guess. All right, we've got Joseph and Alyssa and Jasmine talking. Joseph saying that he hopes that, Joseph is saying that he hopes that Taylor is accepted, that she is going home for sure. Now, remember, he's talking to Alyssa and Jasmine, so he's saying what they want to hear, trying to keep them off the trail, so to speak. He's also saying that Amira told Taylor to be good in her exit interviews, that he hopes she's good in her exit, that Amira hopes that Taylor's good in her exit interviews. Hope Amira's worked on hers a little bit as well. Jasmine talks a little bit about stomach issues. She's been having some issues. She's not feeling well at all. She can't find crackers or drinks, so she gets Michael to pour her some Sprite, look for some crackers. Later, she hears Joseph cooking, thinks maybe a steak would make her feel a little bit better. Jasmine's still not feeling great after almost passing out at the veto competition. All right, we've got Kyle and Turner and Monty in the HOH. They finally have a chance to bring Monty in, start getting him on board as well. They want to get Taylor up as well, but they think that Amira is keeping tabs on Taylor. Taylor's downstairs in the golf bedroom, and girls have been down there talking a lot. It's kind of tough because they want Taylor to come up and visit with them. But at the same time, Taylor doesn't know what all is going on. And so she's trying to stay as tight as she can with these girls in the hopes that she may be protected. So, a little, not miscommunication, just different people with different objectives, but they're patiently waiting for Taylor to get on up to talk. But meanwhile, Monty's saying that when she does come up, he'll tell her about this old school alliance. He'll talk to her about the Pooch eviction vote and how that developed and everything else. Kyle is saying, look, we just have to stay with Taylor. Once we do all this, we can't let the other side try to influence her. They're going to be doing everything they can to get her back on their side. We need to make sure that doesn't happen. We can't leave her alone with that group. Joseph is saying that Turner really should, when he renominates Amira at the veto ceremony, that Turner ought to say, it's because you lied to me, Amira. It's just because of that. Turner's saying, I'm going to mention that she didn't talk game to me. That a few times he tried to say something. Well, I think Turner wanted to talk to Amira about how this idea to actually send Pooch out the door had happened. And he said, yeah, Amira just shut that down. She wouldn't talk any game with me. So I'm going to use that as an excuse. Say, you wouldn't talk with me. So, here you are. So they're starting to figure out a lot of that. A lot of the guys are saying they want to try to keep all the focus, the blame on Turner for this flip, this backdoor of Amira. Because if they do that, and then they know that the other side, if they then put Turner on the block, that they can send out Jasmine instead. So they want to try to keep the blame away from Joseph and Monty as much as possible, because that's kind of the weak link going forward in terms of duos and going on the block and all that. We've got Monty and Joseph talking about this very thing, that they know they're at risk if the other side wins HOH next week. But they said, you know what, we're willing to take the risk. Otherwise, they're just going to pick us off one by one. So let's do it. Taylor's finally in the HOH room. It's great watching the guys upstairs. They see Taylor finally get away from the bedroom, and they're like, come on, Taylor, come on. And just watching the monitor and getting so excited when they finally see Turner's doing this. And they were very happy to see Taylor. I got to think Taylor should be happy when she walks into a room and she sees people smiling when she entered that room. That's got to be a good feeling, right? So she finally makes it up into the HOH room with Turner and Michael and Monty. Some of the others show up a little bit later. But she says that she's open to anything that'll keep her in the house, as she should be. But she's thinking, based on what she knows right now, that Indy would be her preference for going up as the renom and the target to send home. But she says also that she knows she's at the bottom of this girl. She's trying to work with them, but she knows she's at the bottom of this girl's group, and that there's plenty of people have already told her that she's going home this week. So she's not feeling great about everything, but she's excited here. There may be some other possibilities. All right, eventually we've got Brittany comes into the room also. Monty's saying that Paloma was playing both sides from day one. That led to a lot of miscommunications, a lot of targeting and blame, and a lot of things that shouldn't have happened. He's also saying that Nicole was a planned backdoor, or that he's also saying that Nicole had said that Taylor was a planned backdoor, and she picked Taylor as her duo partner because she knew that everyone would vote out Taylor ahead of time. So it wasn't for any friendship with Taylor, it was to protect her own self. Turner's also saying that Nicole told him that she deserved an Oscar for the way that she had lied to Taylor for the last few days or so. And at this point, we now have Kyle talking to Taylor about the old school alliance, who's in it, the fact that they're not in it. And Brittany is now saying that the girls were going after, that if they hadn't had the duo twist, that the girls group was planning to put up Turner and Taylor on the block this week. So they're spilling all the beans to Taylor and letting her know that not just Taylor was at risk, that they all feel like they're at risk from this other group if they don't do something. Kyle goes out of his way, and I like this. Kyle goes out of his way to tell Taylor that, look, you're a key element of this new group. Later, he says, you're not just a shield or anything. You are a part of this group. You're a full member. We're not just using you for this week and then moving on. We need you. We want you. You are part of the group. And that's all she was asking for, right? That's what I wanted on my season. I just wanted to land somewhere and be part of a group. All right. Brittany is thinking that Nicole blowing up on Taylor earlier in the day was intentional, just to fuel a fire. Daniel doing the same thing. It may have been the same situation as well. Taylor's saying that she would rather be with these outsiders than anyone else, and that she's trusted Michael and Brittany from the beginning. Monty, though, is saying, Monty's saying that they can't let Amira suspect that they are working together. But then he sits there for a second and he says, but if she does, we still have the votes. They can't do anything at this point in time. But just because she's Amira and she's so strategic, let's try to keep her from finding out as long as possible. Taylor is wondering who this new group wants to cut pre-jury, who they want to take to jury. They say, well, we haven't really gotten that far, but as they discuss it a little bit, it sounds like pretty much consensus is they are happy to cut Daniel, Amira, and Nicole pre-jury. They see those as some of the biggest antagonizers from the other side. They're happy to go ahead and cut them loose before they ever make it to jury. We've got Kyle telling Taylor that she isn't going on the block this week. And he's saying further than that, if you go on the block next week, we'll have the votes we'll have the majority, and we're sending out Nicole. So you're not going anywhere next week either, Taylor. That's got to be a good feeling. And here's the thing. They formed an alliance, and they now have an official name. This new group of 7 is the Leftovers. I love it. Absolutely. All right. Here's the thing. When I do this show, I'm supposed to be unbiased, objective, impartial for the most part. I'm talking about what's going on. But I got to say, I'm really excited to see this new alliance group. And I'm kind of cheering them on. I'm cheering them on a lot. I hope they do fantastic. I love to see the outsiders, the underdogs, the Leftovers figuring out a way to make things work. So I'm all on board with the Leftovers Alliance right now. All right, finally, Joseph, the final member of this new alliance, finally shows up. Says Nicole was wondering where everyone was. He said, they're probably up in the HOH room. Nicole's not going to come upstairs, though, because she's trying to avoid Taylor at this point, according to Joseph. But Joseph, the final member, is upstairs. Taylor's telling everyone that she's all in, that she wants to do this. This is where Kyle says, you're a part, you're not a shield, you're a full member of the squad. Joseph is also mentioning, saying, look, we got these 3 different alliances. They're getting ready to go to war. We've got us, we've got the old school, we've got the girls. Let the old school and the girls go battle each other out while we'll just stay in control over here. Don't get it. Kyle says he'll continue to use Alyssa for information. There was some question about his relation to Alyssa, and he says, look, I'm not ready for a showmance. I'll milk her for information and continue, and if we got to cut her next week, so be it. Alliance, Kyle's made his alliance, his loyalty is very clear at this point. All right, Brittany's talking to Taylor. She says, look, I had no idea that Michael and I were just put up as pawns for you this week. I can't remember. I thought maybe Brittany was aware of that someone had told her, but I just can't remember. But she mentions that to Taylor. And then finally, to kind of finish up this evening, this conversation, excuse me, Taylor's talking to the cameras saying, look, I think this is the only chance I have. She's saying that she feels like maybe at this point she could come out on top, and that feels incredible. It feels good. She says that she was wanting to come in to play for the girls in the house, but they just wouldn't let her in. And that she really, it killed her that because she was an outsider with these girls groups, it forced her in a situation where she was tempted or had to potentially throw Brittany under the bus multiple times. And that killed her because she felt like Brittany was in a similar position to what she's been going through. And so she's very excited that now she's got this new group and she's feeling very good about. But here's something as well that I really like hearing. She said, now here's the thing. I'm with this group. I hope this works. It'd be great. But she's saying how much she really hopes that America doesn't ruin Amira when Amira gets out of the house and says, she's playing the game and all that. I just don't want America to call her a snake or a villain or anything else. I don't want America to go after her. That's us. That's us as the viewers. It's so easy to try to drag some of these people that we feel maybe have not quite shown the character or the integrity that we would hope and expect from people. But it's a game. Sometimes it's just difficult. And so she's saying, I hope that America doesn't go after. It's nice that someone that's been targeting so hard. Taylor she's thinking about the game and not the personal. And she's hoping that Amira still, if she does go home this week, that she doesn't come out to too much negativity, which she will. But I really like the sentiments that Taylor expressed with that, and I agree with them completely. And with that, 6:30 or so in the morning, Big Brother time, the feeds or the cameras finally go off. It was a long night, but it was well worth it for the conversations that took place. I love this evening. It was fantastic. It was a good one to watch. It's what makes all those boring overnight feeds worth it, just because you get something like this every once in a while. So I enjoyed it. What a great Saturday night. All right, guys, that's it. We'll see what happens today. I'm certainly curious to see who finds out what as of tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, I'll be back Monday morning to let y'all know what else has gone on. But pretty cool evening, guys. Y'all have a great one. I will talk to y'all tomorrow morning. Until then, SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye.